Hello, my wonderful friends. Welcome back to Sage Advice, the place where we talk honestly about life after 60, the ups and downs of aging, and how to live these years with greater peace, confidence, and wisdom. I truly hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you're watching from. As always, I'd love to know how you're feeling today. Share your thoughts in the comments because I genuinely enjoy reading every message you send. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for the kind and thoughtful comments you've left on recent videos. I've read messages from wonderful people in the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, India, the Philippines, and many other parts of the world. Your personal stories, life experiences, and words of encouragement continue to inspire me every single day. Whenever I read comments like, Sage, advice your videos give me hope, or I wish I had heard this 10 years ago, I'm reminded why I started this journey. We're more than just a YouTube channel. We're a community of seniors and those preparing for their senior years who believe in learning, healing, growing, and supporting one another. If you're new here, welcome to the Sage Advice family. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Here, we talk about the subjects that truly matter after 60 and 70: health, happiness, relationships, emotional well-being, and finding purpose in every stage of life. If you believe that personal growth never has an age limit, then you're in exactly the right place. Today's topic may feel a little uncomfortable, but it's an important conversation. We're going to talk about 12 habits that many seniors unknowingly develop as they grow older, habits that can quietly damage relationships, create loneliness, and make life more difficult than it needs to be. When I say ugly, I'm not talking about appearance. I'm talking about attitudes, behaviors, and everyday habits that slowly push people away without us even noticing. The truth is, growing older isn't about wrinkles or gray hair. It's about the choices we make and the way we treat ourselves and the people around us every single day. Have you ever wondered why some seniors remain joyful, respected, and surrounded by love while others become bitter, lonely, or constantly frustrated? Stay with me until the end because today's discussion may change the way you see aging and perhaps even change your life. Let's begin with the first habit. Mistake number 1: complaining about everything. My friends, this is one of the most common habits I notice among older adults, and many don't even realize they're doing it. Before you immediately think, that doesn't sound like me, take a moment to reflect honestly. How often do you catch yourself saying things like, the weather is too hot, food doesn't taste like it used to, people today have no manners, my back hurts again, nothing ever gets better? Do any of those sound familiar? As we age, it's completely understandable to notice life's difficulties more often. Our bodies become less cooperative. Prices continue to rise. Friends move away or pass on. The world changes faster than we'd like, and sometimes it feels difficult to keep up. Feeling frustrated is natural, but when frustration turns into constant complaining, something begins to change inside us. Complaining slowly steals our peace. Instead of noticing what's still good in life, we begin focusing only on what's missing or what's gone wrong. Even more importantly, our words shape the atmosphere around us. When every conversation centers on negativity, people begin to feel emotionally exhausted. You may not notice it, but family members, children, and grandchildren can leave those conversations feeling drained instead of encouraged. They still love you. They simply find it harder to spend long periods of time surrounded by constant negativity. Even small comments like, everything used to be better, or the world is falling apart, repeated day after day, quietly communicate unhappiness. Sadly, that often creates a painful cycle. People visit less. You feel lonelier. The loneliness creates more frustration, and the complaining grows even stronger. But I've also met many seniors whose lives shine with remarkable warmth and peace. They don't necessarily have perfect health or financial security. Some struggle with illness, live alone, or face daily challenges. Yet they carry something far more valuable: gratitude. They wake each morning thankful for another sunrise. They enjoy a simple cup of tea. They appreciate a friendly conversation, a quiet afternoon, or the sound of birds outside the window. When you spend time with people like that, you naturally want to stay longer because their presence feels comforting. I once visited a gentleman in his 80s who lived alone and suffered from severe arthritis. Walking was difficult, and everyday tasks required great effort. Yet every visitor was welcomed with the same warm smile. He would always say, "It's wonderful to see you today. I'm blessed that you came." No matter how long the visit lasted, everyone left his home feeling lighter than when they arrived. One afternoon I asked him, "How do you remain so positive despite everything you're facing?" He smiled gently and replied, "Years ago, I realized that my complaints never made the world brighter. They only made my own world darker. So I decided that, whenever possible, I would choose to become the light instead." I've never forgotten those words. If you want to break the habit of complaining, begin with simple awareness. Whenever you're about to make a negative comment, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, can I find one positive thing instead? If your knees hurt, remind yourself, at least I can still take a walk. If it's raining outside, think, I'm grateful to have a safe home. If you're feeling lonely today, perhaps you can say, this is a chance to slow down, reflect, and appreciate the blessings I still have. Small shifts like these slowly transform the way you experience life. Remember this, my friends. Complaining rarely changes your circumstances. Gratitude often changes the person living through those circumstances. And sometimes, that's where real happiness begins. Now, let's move to another quiet habit that can slowly affect relationships, without seniors even realizing it. Hashtag mistake number 2. Repeating the same stories again and again. Many seniors do this without any intention of annoying others. It's a small habit, but over time it can quietly create distance in conversations. Perhaps you've noticed yourself telling the story about your first job, your military service, a memorable vacation, or something that happened decades ago. Before you realize it, you've shared that same story several times in just a few weeks. There's absolutely nothing wrong with sharing memories. Stories preserve family history. They pass wisdom from one generation to the next. They remind loved ones where they came from. But when every conversation returns to the exact same memories, people, especially younger family members, may begin to lose interest. Not because they don't love you, not because your experiences aren't valuable, simply because they've heard the same story many times before. Instead of feeling like a conversation, it begins to feel like a recording playing once again. The deeper reason behind this habit is often emotional. Sometimes those memories represent the happiest, proudest, or most meaningful years of your life. Those moments remind you of who you once were, how capable you felt, or how deeply you were appreciated. Without realizing it, your heart keeps returning to those memories because they still provide comfort. But life isn't meant to be lived entirely in yesterday. If every story comes from the past, it becomes harder to notice the beautiful moments that are still waiting to happen today. I've watched families where a grandparent begins telling a familiar story, and the grandchildren quietly exchange knowing smiles because they already recognize every sentence before it's spoken. That's not because they don't love their grandparent. It's simply a reminder that meaningful conversations also require curiosity about the present, not only memories from the past. They don't mean to be disrespectful. They're simply craving something fresh, something that connects with the present. When conversations become predictable, they gradually lose their warmth. As a result, many seniors begin to feel ignored or overlooked without realizing that the story has simply lost its freshness. So how can you change this? It's simpler than you might think. Start creating new stories every day. Find something different to talk about. It doesn't have to be a major event. Perhaps you noticed something funny during a walk in the park, tried a new recipe, watched an inspiring video, learned an interesting fact online, or enjoyed a meaningful conversation with a friend. If it helps, keep a small notebook where you write down memorable moments. Then, when family or friends visit, you'll always have something fresh and interesting to share. It shows that you're still engaged with life, still curious, and still creating new experiences. Here's another helpful tip I often recommend. If you find yourself telling an old story, pause halfway through and invite the other person into the conversation. Ask something like, have you ever experienced something similar? Or, what would you have done in that situation? Suddenly, your story becomes a conversation instead of a speech. People feel included, and they'll remember how enjoyable it was talking with you, rather than simply listening to you. So remember, my friends, your memories are priceless treasures. But today's experiences are gifts waiting to be discovered. Keep your conversations balanced by sharing both cherished memories and new experiences, and you'll never run out of meaningful things to talk about. Now let's move to Another habit that many seniors quietly develop without realizing how much it changes the way others see them. Hashtag mistake number 3, stopping caring about your appearance. My friends, this next point may be a little uncomfortable, but it comes from a place of love because it's more important than many people realize. One habit that quietly affects many seniors is giving up on their appearance. This doesn't happen because they're lazy or careless. More often, it's because they've convinced themselves that it no longer matters. They think, who am I dressing up for? I'm getting older. Nobody notices how I look anymore. But here's the truth. It matters not just for other people, but for you. The way you dress, the way you carry yourself, and even the effort you put into personal hygiene send powerful signals to your own mind. When you stop grooming yourself, wear the same clothes day after day, or tell yourself, I don't care anymore, your brain slowly begins to believe it. Confidence starts to fade. You become less interested in going out. You withdraw from social activities. Little by little, the decline begins not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and socially. On the other hand, taking a few extra minutes to comb your hair, put on clean clothes, or wear a light fragrance sends a completely different message. It tells your mind, I'm still here. I still matter. I still deserve to feel good about myself. I once met a wonderful woman in her 70s who shared something I'll never forget. She smiled and said, every morning I fix my hair and put on a little lipstick, not because I'm trying to look younger, but because I respect the person I see in the mirror. What beautiful wisdom. Looking after yourself isn't about impressing anyone else. It's about honoring yourself. When you look into the mirror and see someone who appears cared for, you naturally feel better throughout the day. Unfortunately, many seniors slowly lose motivation. They stay in pajamas all day. They skip bathing. They wear the same clothes for days. At first, these may seem like small things, but over time, they quietly become signs of sadness, self-neglect, and sometimes even depression. Our appearance and our self-worth are more connected than many people realize. When you neglect yourself, your mind slowly begins to believe that you aren't worth caring for, even when that's completely untrue. People also tend to respond to the image we present. If you always appear exhausted and uninterested, others may assume that's how you feel. The good news is that you don't need expensive clothing or luxury products. Simple daily habits can make an incredible difference. Freshen up every day. Keep your hair and nails neat. Wear clothes that are both comfortable and make you feel confident. Add a little color with a favorite shirt, scarf, sweater, or piece of jewelry that makes you smile. These small efforts have a remarkable effect on your confidence. Remember, caring for your appearance isn't just about your body. It's an act of self-respect. It says, I'm still alive. I'm still worthy. I still deserve to feel proud of myself. When you carry yourself with that kind of confidence, people naturally respond with greater warmth and respect, because self-respect often inspires respect from others. So remember, my dear friends, the way you care for yourself on the outside has a powerful influence on how you feel on the inside. You don't need to be glamorous. Simply be clean, neat, comfortable, and proud of the person you've become. Sometimes, that small daily effort is enough to transform your entire day. Now let's continue with another habit that quietly causes many seniors to lose their enthusiasm for life. Hashtag mistake number 4, stopping learning. My dear friends, let's talk about one of the greatest secrets to staying mentally young. Never stop learning. One of the biggest mistakes many seniors make is believing they've learned everything they need to know. They stop being curious. They stop exploring. They settle into the same routines and tell themselves, I'm too old for that now. But let me tell you something from the heart. The day you stop learning is the day you begin aging much faster. Many seniors say, my memory isn't what it used to be. Technology is too confusing. What's the point at my age? Those thoughts may seem harmless, but they quietly limit your potential. Your brain works very much like a muscle. If you stop exercising it, it becomes weaker. But every time you challenge it with something new, you strengthen it, regardless of your age. Research continues to show that people who keep learning after 60 often enjoy better memory, lower stress levels, and a reduced risk of cognitive decline. Learning doesn't mean returning to school or studying difficult textbooks. Learning can be enjoyable and practical. Try a new recipe. Learn more about your smartphone. Plant a small garden. Read an interesting article. Watch educational videos on SageAdvice or explore another topic that inspires you. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is curiosity. Instead of saying, I already know, try saying, I'd like to learn more. That simple change in attitude brings fresh energy into your life. Suddenly, each day becomes another opportunity to discover something new. I remember meeting a gentleman at a local library. He was 78 years old and attending a beginner's computer class. With a smile, he told me, Sage advice, I'm learning how to send emails to my grandchildren. He laughed as he slowly typed with just 2 fingers, but the joy in his eyes was unforgettable. Then he said, every time I learn something new, I feel 10 years younger. That's the real gift of learning. It doesn't simply add knowledge. It renews your spirit. Every new skill reminds you that growth never has an expiration date. Aging often tries to convince us that the best chapters of life are already behind us. Learning reminds us that some of the most meaningful chapters may still be waiting to be written. It gives purpose to your mornings. It fills your evenings with satisfaction. And it gives you something to look forward to tomorrow. That's one of the greatest secrets to aging gracefully. Keep feeding your curiosity. Here are a few simple ways to begin today. Read one interesting article every day. Watch one educational video. Learn one new skill each week. Ask more questions. Stay curious, because as long as you're learning, you're still growing. Learn a new word and use it in conversation. Ask your grandchildren to teach you something about technology or modern life. Try a new hobby, such as painting, photography, gardening, writing, or even learning a musical instrument. Every new skill, no matter how small, adds fresh color and purpose to your life. So, my friends, never let your age close your mind. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep exploring. When your mind stays young, your heart often does too. Now, let's move to another habit that quietly steals happiness from many seniors and slowly robs them of their peace. Mistake number 5, comparing yourself to the past. My friends, this is something almost every senior experiences, even the wisest among us. It's a quiet habit that slowly eats away at contentment without us even noticing. Many people look at old photographs and think, I used to look so much better. They remember the past and say, I was stronger, faster, sharper, and happier back then. Little by little, they begin feeling disappointed with the person they are today. That's a natural feeling. We all remember the seasons of life when we had more energy, more opportunities, and fewer responsibilities. Those memories are precious. But when you constantly compare your present life with your past, you rob yourself of today's joy. Life only moves forward. Every stage of life carries its own unique beauty. If you spend this season wishing you were living in another one, you'll overlook the blessings that still surround you. Many seniors quietly struggle because of this habit. They say, I used to walk 5 miles every day. Now I can barely walk around the block. Or, people used to listen to me. Now I feel invisible. But here's what I want you to remember. You haven't lost your value. Your value has simply changed. When you were younger, your strength may have come from your body. Today, your strength comes from your wisdom, patience, compassion, and life experience, qualities that no amount of money can buy. Think of your life as a tree. When a tree is young, it's thin, flexible, and growing quickly. As it matures, its trunk becomes stronger and its roots grow deeper. It no longer bends with every passing wind because it has learned how to stand firm. That's what aging can become. You may not move as quickly as you once did, but you're deeply rooted in experience. You've survived storms. You've learned difficult lessons. You've grown in ways your younger self could never have imagined. I once met a retired teacher who shared a beautiful thought with me. She said, when I was younger, I spent my life chasing achievements. Today I chase peace. Then she smiled and added, that's the gift of growing older. You stop trying to impress everyone else and finally begin understanding yourself. Those words have stayed with me. That isn't a loss. That's a level of wisdom many people never reach. Here's a simple habit you can practice every morning. Instead of saying, I used to, try saying, I still can. I still can smile. I still can love. I still can encourage someone. I still can enjoy today. That one small change shifts your attention away from what's gone and toward what still remains. And what remains is more valuable than you may realize. So, my dear friends, stop staring at doors that have already closed, or you may miss the beautiful ones opening right in front of you. Your past was meaningful, But your present is still alive, still valuable, and still full of possibilities. Now let's continue with another habit that quietly steals peace from many seniors. Mistake number 6, refusing to face financial reality. My friends, this next topic isn't always comfortable, but it's one of the most important conversations we can have. Let's talk honestly about money. Many seniors avoid thinking about finances. Sometimes it's because they're afraid. Sometimes it's because of pride. But ignoring financial reality is one of the most harmful mistakes anyone can make in later life. Financial stress doesn't only affect your bank account. It affects your health, your emotional well-being, your sleep, and even your relationships. For many people, discussing money feels embarrassing. Some tell themselves, everything will somehow work out. Others continue spending exactly as they did in their 40s and 50s, forgetting that retirement, inflation, and medical expenses can completely change their financial picture. Ignoring the problem doesn't make it disappear. It simply allows it to grow. Facing your financial situation honestly is the first step toward peace of mind. I've seen many seniors refuse to simplify their lives until they had no choice. They continued living in homes that became too large to maintain. They kept supporting adult children financially, even when it created hardship for themselves. Slowly, debt, anxiety, and frustration replaced peace. But here's the truth. There is absolutely no shame in simplifying your lifestyle. In fact, it's often one of the wisest decisions you can make. Downsizing isn't giving up. It's creating freedom. When your expenses match your income, life becomes lighter. You sleep more peacefully. You breathe more easily. You spend less time worrying and more time enjoying the people and moments that truly matter. Eventually, you realize something important. Real happiness doesn't come from owning more things. It comes from having peace of mind. Letting go of unnecessary possessions and expensive habits often gives you something far more valuable: freedom from constant stress. I once spoke with an elderly couple who sold the large family home where they had raised their children. They moved into a smaller apartment. At first, the decision broke their hearts. But a few months later they told me, "We feel lighter than we have in years. The big bills are gone. The maintenance is gone. The pressure is gone." Instead of worrying about repairs and expenses, they now spend their days reading, walking together, visiting their children, and simply enjoying life. Then they smiled and said, "We didn't lose our home. We gained our freedom." That's real wisdom. You don't need to become a financial expert. Just take small, practical steps. Know exactly how much money comes in each month. Know exactly how much goes out. Reduce expenses that no longer improve your life. Don't feel obligated to rescue everyone else financially while neglecting your own needs. And if you need guidance, don't hesitate to speak with a trusted family member or financial advisor. Asking for help is a sign of wisdom, not weakness. Taking control of your finances is really about taking control of your peace. Remember this, my dear friends. Money isn't everything, but peace of mind is priceless. Don't let pride prevent you from facing reality. Simplify where you can. Adjust when necessary. Live wisely. Because true wealth isn't measured by possessions. It's measured by the peace you carry in your heart. Now let's move to another quiet trap that affects both the heart and the mind. Mistake number 7, isolating yourself. My dear friends, this next habit is especially heartbreaking because I see it happen far too often. Many seniors slowly begin isolating themselves without even realizing it. They stop calling old friends. They stop attending family gatherings. They spend more and more time at home, telling themselves, "I just enjoy the peace and quiet." At first, that may seem harmless, but over time, quietness can slowly turn into loneliness. And loneliness is one of the greatest challenges many older adults face. There are many reasons for this. Perhaps you've lost close friends, your spouse, or other loved ones. Maybe you feel that people no longer understand you. Or perhaps you're simply tired, tired of reaching out, tired of making plans, and tired of feeling disappointed. Those feelings are real. But allowing yourself to become completely isolated only makes the burden heavier. Sometimes you're simply tired, tired of trying, tired of pretending to be cheerful when your heart feels heavy. So, little by little, you begin pulling away from people. You convince yourself that being alone is easier. But here's the truth. Isolation is like a slow poison. It quietly drains your energy, fills your mind with negative thoughts, and can even affect your physical health. Research has shown that chronic Loneliness can be as harmful to your health as smoking many cigarettes each day. It increases stress, weakens the immune system, and may even shorten life expectancy. But beyond the physical effects, loneliness slowly weakens the human spirit. No matter our age, we were created for connection. We all need laughter. We need meaningful conversations. We need kindness, encouragement, and a sense of belonging. Without those things, even the strongest hearts can begin to feel empty. I once met a gentleman in his late 70s who quietly told me, "Sage advice, my phone never rings anymore." He explained that he used to be surrounded by friends. Over the years, some had passed away, while others had simply drifted apart. Eventually, he stopped calling anyone. He said, "I didn't want to bother people." What he didn't realize was that many of those same people assumed he wanted to be left alone. It wasn't rejection. It was a misunderstanding. When he finally decided to reach out again, even with a simple message asking, "How have you been?" people responded with genuine warmth and happiness. Sometimes one small phone call is all it takes to rebuild a connection. That's why I always encourage seniors not to wait for others to make the first move. Be the one who reaches out. Call an old friend. Join a local senior group or hobby club. Attend a community event, a class, or a place of worship where you can meet others. If getting around is difficult, connect with people online. Even joining conversations in the comments on SageAdvice videos or enjoying a video call with family can remind you that you're still connected to the world. Every meaningful conversation adds a little more light to your life. The more you open your heart, the more your heart begins to heal. Every time you listen, share, encourage, or simply spend time with another person, you're reminding yourself that you're still part of something much bigger than yourself. That feeling of belonging brings comfort, hope, and joy in ways no medicine ever could. Never forget this, my friends. Your presence is a gift. Someone out there needs your wisdom. Someone needs your kindness. Someone needs to hear your voice. So please, don't isolate yourself. Don't sit quietly, hoping the world will remember you. Take the first step. Reach out. You may be surprised by how many people have been waiting to hear from you. Now, let's move to another habit that quietly makes life more difficult. For many seniors. Hashtag mistake number 8. Getting angry too easily. My dear friends, this next point is something every one of us can relate to. As we grow older, patience sometimes becomes harder to hold on to. Small inconveniences begin to feel much bigger. We become irritated more quickly. We lose our temper over things that once wouldn't have bothered us. That doesn't mean we're bad people. It simply means life has placed many burdens on our shoulders. But if we're not careful, constant anger can slowly push away both peace and the people we love. Let's be honest. Growing older isn't always easy. Our bodies ache. Simple tasks take longer. Technology changes faster than we can keep up. And sometimes younger people don't always show the patience or respect we'd hoped for. Naturally, frustration builds. Maybe you become upset over poor customer service. Maybe you argue over small misunderstandings. Maybe you find yourself raising your voice more often than you used to. But here's the truth. Anger rarely solves the problem. Instead, it steals your peace. It drains your energy. It raises your blood pressure. And over time, it can make people hesitant to spend time around you. Anger is like holding a burning coal. The person who gets hurt first is usually the one holding it. It hardens the heart and makes even joyful moments feel heavier than they need to be. Many seniors tell themselves, "I just can't control it anymore." But that's not entirely true. You can learn to respond differently. Sometimes one small phone call is all it takes to rebuild a connection. That's why I always encourage seniors not to wait for others to make the first move. Be the one who reaches out. Call an old friend. Join a local senior group or hobby club. Attend a community event, a class, or a place of worship where you can meet others. If getting around is difficult, connect with people online. Even joining conversations in the comments on SageAdvice videos or enjoying a video call with family can remind you that you're still connected to the world. Every meaningful conversation adds a little more light to your life. The more you open your heart, the more your heart begins to heal. Every time you listen, share, encourage, or simply spend time with another person, you're reminding yourself that you're still part of something much bigger than yourself. That feeling of belonging brings comfort, hope, and joy in ways no medicine ever could. Never forget this, my friends. Your presence is a gift. Someone out there needs your wisdom. Someone needs your kindness. Someone needs to hear your voice. So please, don't isolate yourself. Don't sit quietly, hoping the world will remember you. Take the first step. Reach out. You may be surprised by how many people have been waiting to hear from you. Now, let's move to another habit that quietly makes life more difficult. For many seniors. Hashtag mistake number 8. Getting angry too easily. My dear friends, this next point is something every one of us can relate to. As we grow older, patience sometimes becomes harder to hold on to. Small inconveniences begin to feel much bigger. We become irritated more quickly. We lose our temper over things that once wouldn't have bothered us. That doesn't mean we're bad people. It simply means life has placed many burdens on our shoulders. But if we're not careful, constant anger can slowly push away both peace and the people we love. Let's be honest. Growing older isn't always easy. Our bodies ache. Simple tasks take longer. Technology changes faster than we can keep up. And sometimes younger people don't always show the patience or respect we'd hoped for. Naturally, frustration builds. Maybe you become upset over poor customer service. Maybe you argue over small misunderstandings. Maybe you find yourself raising your voice more often than you used to. But here's the truth. Anger rarely solves the problem. Instead, it steals your peace. It drains your energy. It raises your blood pressure. And over time, it can make people hesitant to spend time around you. Anger is like holding a burning coal. The person who gets hurt first is usually the one holding it. It hardens the heart and makes even joyful moments feel heavier than they need to be. Many seniors tell themselves, "I just can't control it anymore." But that's not entirely true. You can learn to respond differently. Begins with deciding that your peace is more valuable than proving you're right. Every time you choose patience instead of angéter, you win twice. You protect your health, and you protect your relationships. I once knew a retired gentleman who seemed angry with everyone. He argued with neighbors. He snapped at store employees. He complained constantly. One day I gently asked him, "Why do you seem so upset all the time?" He answered, "because nobody listens to me anymore, ***. I quietly replied, "Perhaps people stop listening because they only hear the anger." Those words stayed with him. Over the following months, he worked on becoming more patient. He spoke more gently. He smiled more often. He listened before reacting. Before long, friends started visiting again. One day he admitted, "I didn't lose my friends. I lost control of my temper." Whenever you feel anger beginning to rise, try a simple habit. Take one slow, deep breath. Remain silent for 10 seconds. Then ask yourself, will this still matter tomorrow? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to let it go. If you're still upset, step away for a few minutes. Say a quiet prayer. Listen to something uplifting. Read a few pages of a good book, or simply step outside and enjoy some fresh air. The more often you practice calmness, the more natural it becomes. Peace isn't something you accidentally discover. It's something you create through the way you respond to life's challenges. There's a saying I've always loved, when you're young, you fight to be right. When you're wise, you choose to be kind, That's one of the greatest signs of graceful aging. Choosing kindness over pride. Choosing understanding over anger. Because calm people earn respect, they attract love. And they carry a quiet strength that everyone notices. In the end, people rarely remember who raised their voice the loudest. They remember the person who remained gentle when it mattered most. So remember, my dear friends, your calmness is one of your greatest strengths. Protect it, practice it, and never allow anger to steal the peace you've worked so hard to build. Now, let's continue with another habit that quietly traps many seniors in sadness and regret. Hashtag mistake number 9, living in the past. My dear friends, this is a habit that silently steals joy from many older adults without them even realizing it. There's nothing wrong with remembering the past. In fact, our memories are some of life's greatest treasures. But when we spend more time living in yesterday than appreciating today, we slowly begin missing the beautiful moments that are still unfolding right in front of us. Remember this, my friends, asking for help or accepting it when it's offered is a sign of wisdom, not failure. Surround yourself with people who respect your independence, while also being willing to support you when needed. When you allow yourself to accept help, something wonderful happens. Your stress begins to fade. Loneliness becomes lighter. Your confidence grows because you know you can rely not only on yourself, but also on the people who care about you. Life feels less overwhelming. Decisions become easier. And perhaps most importantly, accepting support shows your loved ones that you trust them. That trust strengthens relationships and brings families closer together. So, my dear friends, never think that asking for help is a weakness. It's one of the wisest choices you can make. It helps you stay safer, happier, and more connected to the people who love you. Now let's move to another habit that quietly steals confidence and dignity over time. Mistake number 11, losing self-respect. My dear friends, this next point is one of the most powerful because it influences every area of your life. Many seniors slowly begin losing respect for themselves without even realizing it. They stop valuing their opinions. They neglect their own needs. They allow others to treat them poorly without speaking up. Little by little, their confidence, happiness, and sense of dignity begin to fade. As we grow older, it's easy to feel overlooked. Family members become busy. Friends move away. Health challenges may limit what we can do. Sometimes it feels as though the world has forgotten us. Because of that, some seniors quietly tell themselves, "Why bother standing up for myself anymore?" But here's the truth. Your worth never decreases with age. Self-respect is a decision you make every single day. And when you respect yourself, you teach the world how to treat you. Without self-respect, people may begin overlooking your needs. Your voice may be ignored. You may lose the motivation to care for your health, your appearance, or your relationships. It's a slow downward spiral. When you stop believing in your own value, others often follow the example you unknowingly set. I once met an elderly woman who agreed with everyone. Even when she clearly felt differently, she quietly said, "I don't want to cause trouble." Over time, she realized she had stopped making choices for herself. She rarely expressed her opinions. She gave up hobbies she once loved simply because she didn't want to inconvenience anyone. One day, she decided things had to change. She began speaking honestly, but always with kindness and respect. She made simple decisions based on what truly made her happy. The transformation was remarkable. Her confidence returned. Her energy improved. People listened to her more carefully. Later, she told me, "The day I started respecting myself again was the day I started enjoying life again." If you want to rebuild your self-respect, begin with small daily habits. Speak kindly to yourself. Stop criticizing yourself for growing older. Share your opinions with confidence, even in small conversations. Set healthy boundaries with people who constantly drain your energy. Protect your health. Make time for your interests. Choose peace over people-pleasing. Those simple acts create lasting change. When you respect yourself, your body benefits. Your mind becomes stronger. Your relationships become healthier. People naturally respond with greater kindness and respect, not because you've demanded it, but because your confidence quietly inspires it. Remember, self-respect isn't arrogance. It's honoring the incredible life you've lived and appreciating the remarkable person you've become. So, my dear friends, never allow anyone, not even yourself, to convince you that you're less valuable because you've grown older. Respect yourself. Care for yourself. Believe in yourself. Those are some of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Now, let's move to our final point. Mistake number 12, stopping movement and neglecting physical health. My dear friends, we've reached the final habit, and it may be the most important of them all. Many seniors gradually stop moving. They stop exercising. They stop taking care of their physical health. They begin saying things like, "I'm too old for exercise now," or "It doesn't really matter anymore." But here's the truth. Your body is your lifelong home. When you stop caring for it, your energy, independence, confidence, and even your happiness begin to decline. Aging naturally brings changes. Joints become stiffer. Stamina decreases. Balance isn't always what it once was. Because of that, it's tempting to spend more time sitting and resting. But here's the challenge. The more you sit, the weaker your muscles become. Your bones lose strength. Your heart and lungs become less efficient. And before long, moving feels even harder than before. It's a slow cycle that quietly feeds itself. Physical inactivity can increase the risk of falls. It can slow your metabolism. It may contribute to weight gain and other health conditions. It reduces energy levels and makes everyday activities more difficult. Even your emotional health can suffer. Long periods of inactivity often increase feelings of sadness, loneliness, and low motivation. I once met a retired gentleman who had completely stopped taking his daily walks. He told me, "I'm always tired, so I don't feel like moving anymore." Instead of asking him to do something difficult, we started with just 10 minutes of walking each day. A few weeks later, he smiled and said, "I feel alive again. My back hurts less. I'm sleeping better, and I actually look forward to my walks." That's the power of movement. Exercise doesn't simply strengthen your body. It lifts your mood, builds your confidence, protects your independence, and reminds you that you're still capable of more than you imagine. If you're wondering where to begin, keep it simple. Walk for 5 or 10 minutes each day. Stretch gently every morning. Try activities like gentle yoga, tai chi, or water aerobics if they're suitable for you. Use light weights or resistance bands to maintain muscle strength. Always listen to your body. If you experience sharp pain, stop and seek appropriate medical advice. But don't quit simply because something feels challenging at first. The goal isn't intensity. The goal is consistency. Every small step matters. Every walk strengthens your future. Every healthy choice is an investment in the life you still have ahead of you. Staying active also creates opportunities to meet people through walking groups, exercise classes, or community activities. Movement doesn't just improve your health. It helps you stay connected with life itself. So, my dear friends, never stop moving. Your body, your mind, and your spirit were all designed to benefit from regular movement. Even the smallest healthy habits can make the difference between merely getting through each day and truly enjoying it. Stay active, stay curious, keep caring for yourself, because every step you take is another step toward a healthier, happier future. Final thoughts. My dear friends, we've covered 12 habits that can quietly steal happiness, peace, confidence, and energy as we grow older. I sincerely want to thank each one of you for spending this time with me, and for the wonderful comments you continue to leave on our videos. Your encouragement inspires everyone here at Sage Advice to keep creating content that helps people enjoy a healthier, happier, and more meaningful life after 60. Always remember this: growing older is natural, but the way we choose to age is still within our control. We cannot stop time, but we can choose curiosity instead of giving up, kindness instead of anger, movement instead of inactivity, gratitude instead of regret, self-respect instead of self-doubt. Even one small positive habit can begin transforming your life. So here's a challenge for you. Choose just one of the 12 habits we discussed today and work on it this week. Perhaps you'll call an old friend, take a short walk every morning, learn something new, or simply begin treating yourself with greater kindness and respect. Notice how those small choices affect your mood, your energy, and your relationships. Life after 60 can still be joyful, meaningful, and filled with new adventures. It all begins with the small decisions we make each day. I also want to thank every member of our growing Sage Advice community. Your comments, questions, and personal stories have created a place where seniors feel understood, respected, encouraged, and never alone. If you're new here, we'd love to welcome you into the Sage Advice family. Subscribe and join us as we continue learning how to age with wisdom, confidence, purpose, and joy. Remember, growing older doesn't mean giving up. It means valuing yourself, staying curious, keeping your body moving. Try activities like gentle yoga, tai chi, or water aerobics if they're suitable for you. Use light weights or resistance bands to maintain muscle strength. Always listen to your body. If you experience sharp pain, stop and seek appropriate medical advice. But don't quit simply because something feels challenging at first. The goal isn't intensity. The goal is consistency. Every small step matters. Every walk strengthens your future. Every healthy choice is an investment in the life you still have ahead of you. Staying active also creates opportunities to meet people through walking groups, exercise classes, or community activities. Movement doesn't just improve your health. It helps you stay connected with life itself. So, my dear friends, never stop moving. Your body, your mind, and your spirit were all designed to benefit from regular movement. Even the smallest healthy habits can make the difference between merely getting through each day and truly enjoying it. Stay active, stay curious, keep caring for yourself, because every step you take is another step toward a healthier, happier future. Final thoughts. My dear friends, we've covered 12 habits that can quietly steal happiness, peace, confidence, and energy as we grow older. I sincerely want to thank each one of you for spending this time with me and for the wonderful comments you continue to leave on our videos. Your encouragement inspires everyone here at Sage Advice to keep creating content that helps people enjoy a healthier, happier, and more meaningful life after 60. Always remember this: growing older is natural, but the way we choose to age is still within our control. We cannot stop time, but we can choose curiosity instead of giving up, kindness instead of anger, movement instead of inactivity, gratitude instead of regret, self-respect instead of self-doubt. Even one small positive habit can begin transforming your life. So here's a challenge for you. Choose just one of the 12 habits we discussed today and work on it this week. Perhaps you'll call an old friend, take a short walk every morning, learn something new, or simply begin treating yourself with greater kindness and respect. Notice how those small choices affect your mood, your energy, and your relationships. Life after 60 can still be joyful, meaningful, and filled with new adventures. It all begins with the small decisions we make each day. I also want to thank every member of our growing Sage Advice community. Your comments, questions, and personal stories have created a place where seniors feel understood, respected, encouraged, and never alone. If you're new here, we'd love to welcome you into the Sage Advice family. Subscribe and join us as we continue learning how to age with wisdom, confidence, purpose, and joy. Remember, growing older doesn't mean giving up. It means valuing yourself, staying curious, keeping your body moving, caring for your health, and living each day with gratitude. Your story isn't finished. Every sunrise gives you another mistake. Number 9. Living in the past. My dear friends, one of the quietest habits that steals joy is spending too much time living in yesterday. It's easy to replay old memories again and again, wishing life could be the way it once was. You might find yourself saying, "Remember when the neighborhood was quieter? I remember when I had more energy. Backslash. I remember when all my friends were still here. Backslash. Those memories are precious, and there's nothing wrong with cherishing them. But if your heart stays in the past for too long, you may forget that life is still unfolding today. Memories are meant to comfort us. They remind us of who we were, what we achieved, and the people who shaped our lives. However, when nostalgia becomes a daily habit, it slowly turns into a trap. You begin comparing today's life with a version of the past that can never return. As a result, even good moments begin to feel incomplete because your mind is constantly measuring them against yesterday. I've seen many seniors quietly sitting with old photo albums, smiling as they remember happier times. From the outside, that smile looks peaceful, but sometimes, beneath it lies a quiet sadness. The problem isn't remembering the past. The problem is forgetting to fully embrace the present. If you spend all your time reliving yesterday, you stop creating memories for tomorrow. Life becomes something you remember instead of something you continue to experience. I once spoke with a retired teacher who shared something deeply meaningful. She said, "V spent so much time remembering my former students that I almost forgot to notice the wonderful people still entering my life." One day, she realized her beautiful memories had become a distraction. She had overlooked the kindness of a friendly neighbor, the excitement of learning a new hobby, and the laughter she shared with her grandchildren. Opportunity to write a beautiful new chapter. Thank you so much for watching. If today's video encouraged you, please consider liking it, sharing it with friends or family, and leaving a comment below. Your thoughts may inspire someone else who needs a little hope today. Until next time, take good care of yourself. Stay healthy, stay active, stay curious, and I'll see you soon in another Sage Advice video. Mistake number 9. Living in the past. My dear friends, one of the quietest habits that steals joy is spending too much time living in yesterday. It's easy to replay old memories again and again, wishing life could be the way it once was. You might find yourself saying, "I remember when the neighborhood was quieter. I remember when I had more energy. I remember when all my friends were still here." Those memories are precious, and there's nothing wrong with cherishing them. But if your heart stays in the past for too long, you may forget that life is still unfolding today. Memories are meant to comfort us. They remind us of who we were, what we achieved, and the people who shaped our lives. However, when nostalgia becomes a daily habit, it slowly turns into a trap. You begin comparing today's life with a version of the past that can never return. As a result, even good moments begin to feel incomplete because your mind is constantly measuring them against yesterday. I've seen many seniors quietly sitting with old photo albums, smiling as they remember happier times. From the outside, that smile looks peaceful, but sometimes beneath it lies a quiet sadness. The problem isn't remembering the past. The problem is forgetting to fully embrace the present. If you spend all your time reliving yesterday, you stop creating memories for tomorrow. Life becomes something you remember instead of something you continue to experience. I once spoke with a retired teacher who shared something deeply meaningful. She said, "I've spent so much time remembering my former students that I almost forgot to notice the wonderful people still entering my life." One day, she realized her beautiful memories had become a distraction. She had overlooked the kindness of a friendly neighbor, the excitement of learning a new hobby, and the laughter she shared with her grandchildren. When she shifted her attention back to the present, ordinary days began feeling extraordinary again. She discovered that joy hadn't disappeared. She had simply stopped looking for it. Here's a simple habit I'd like you to try. Each morning, pause for a moment and quietly say, "Today is a new day. Today belongs to me." Whenever your thoughts begin drifting too far into the past, gently guide them back to the present. Enjoy your morning tea. Feel the warmth of the sunshine. Call someone you care about. Take a short walk. Read a few pages of a good book. Notice the little blessings that are happening today. When you appreciate today's moments, you're creating tomorrow's cherished memories. Letting go of the past doesn't mean forgetting it. It means carrying its lessons, love, and wisdom with you without allowing yesterday to control your happiness today. The past is a teacher. It should never become a prison. Once you understand that, life feels lighter, brighter, and filled with new possibilities. So remember, my dear friends, treasure your memories, but don't live inside them. Life is happening right now, and your next beautiful chapter is still waiting to be written. Now let's continue with another habit that many seniors quietly struggle with, even though changing it can greatly improve their health, happiness, and safety. Mistake number 10, refusing help or advice. My dear friends, this is one of the most common habits I see, and it often makes life much harder than it needs to be. Many seniors refuse help or advice, even when accepting it could make life safer, healthier, and more enjoyable. They often say, "I can do it myself," or "I don't need anyone telling me what to do." There's nothing wrong with valuing independence. In fact, it's something to be proud of. But when pride keeps you from accepting support, independence can slowly become isolation. Many older adults grew up believing that solving every problem alone was a sign of strength. They worked hard. They raised families. They carried responsibilities without asking for much help. So when someone offers assistance, whether it's repairing something around the house, helping with daily tasks, offering medical guidance, or simply checking in, it can sometimes feel like they're questioning your abilities. But here's the truth. Accepting help isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's recognizing that every stage of life brings different needs, and none of us are meant to face them alone. Refusing help may seem like a small decision, but over time it can create much bigger problems. A preventable fall, ignoring important medical advice, turning away emotional support, trying to carry every burden by yourself. Each of those small decisions can quietly affect your health, your happiness, and your safety. I remember meeting a retired gentleman who refused to use a walking cane. Whenever someone suggested it, he would smile and say, "I don't need one. I'll manage just fine." A few weeks later, he suffered a serious fall that could have been avoided. After he recovered, he quietly admitted, "I wish I had accepted help when it was first offered." That experience changed the way he thought about independence. He realized that accepting support wasn't giving up. It was protecting the life he still wanted to enjoy. Here's a healthier way to think about it. Help is a partnership, not a weakness. You can listen to advice without giving up your freedom. You can accept support while still making your own decisions. True independence isn't about refusing every helping hand. It's about making wise choices that allow you to live safely, confidently, and with greater peace of mind.